In the headlines, according to a study, the country's forest absorbs 10 times more carbon dioxide than it produces in a year. 5 community COVID cases during the first day of second round of mass screening in Samdujongha town. And local leaders in Ha worry over shortage of teachers in the district. And Kuzangpla, and welcome, you are watching BBS News. My name is Chiku. It has been found that the country's forest has the capacity to absorb 8.5 million tons of carbon dioxide annually. And this is according to the National Forest Reference Emission Level and Forest Reference Level developed by the Department of Forest and Park Services. It is an increase from over 6 million tons recorded in 2010. And this has been defined as a good performance and positive contribution towards global climate change mitigation efforts.
Constituting 6.6 million acres of the country's total landscape, Bhutan's forests have the capacity to remove 8 million tons of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere every year. This is equivalent to 10 times more than the country's annual emission. Every year, the country emits close to 1 million tons of carbon dioxide due to deforestation activities, timber extraction and forest fires. Officials attribute the increase to a slight increase in the country's total forested area and largely to change in the method used for calculating the absorption capacity.
The huge difference in the two figures is contributed mainly by the change in the definition of the managed forest when we have estimated in 2010 and when we have estimated in 2020. In 2010, they assumed that only the 50% of the total forest of Bhutan is managed, while we consider entire forest of the Bhutan is managed.
Bhutan has always contributed more than its fair share towards the global fight against climate change. To continue the effort, the Department of Forests and Park Services plans to maintain the annual absorption capacity at 8.5 million tons for all times to come. But the department says it will be a challenge due to increasing incidences of forest fires and deforestation activities.
The developing country like ours, we need to have development activities to go on. And then this development comes with cost. So we also need to manage this forest fires very well. And then to maintain that, we should be also planting trees on the non-forest lands.
The department has submitted its study report to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change for assessment. The report strengthens the country's position and commitment to maintain the emission level below the sink capacity of its forests. Bhutan has always emphasized the importance of adaptation and mitigation for its forests, given future climate change impacts on its mountainous ecosystems. KM for BBS News.
The Druk Nyamru Tokpa says they will be announcing their National Assembly by-election candidates for Mongar and Nganglam constituencies tomorrow. However, speculations are rife that DNT has selected Karmalamo from Mongar and Karmadoji from Nganglam. Karmalamo is a former member of parliament. She also contested in the previous parliamentary elections. Karmadoji is one of the founding members of Druk Nyamru Tokpa. He also contested from Nganglam constituency in the previous parliamentary elections. Meanwhile, Druk Finsum Tokpa said they will finalize their candidates this weekend. As per our sources, the DPT's Nganglam candidate is Rinchen Pelzang. He served as a Gyeok Agriculture Extension Officer and was in service for the last 13 years. And DPT's Mongar candidate is 30-year-old Doji Yuten. She was a librarian in one of the schools in Hlunsi. The by-election for Mongar and Nganglam constituencies will be held on 29th June. People of Lopoka, Pataka, Chiok and Wandafodrang will no longer have to rely on log bridges to cross the Marachu. The Chiok now has a 100-foot-long bridge that was inaugurated recently. Without a permanent bridge, transporting goods was a hurdle for the residents especially during monsoon.
The bridge was constructed at a cost of around 8 million Newton. It has a load capacity of 18,000 kilograms. With the new bridge, farmers are now looking forward to increasing agricultural activities.
In the past, we used to spend around 4 to 5 days reconstructing a log bridge. It used to be a hassle. We are extremely thankful to the government for giving us a permanent motorable bridge. It will help reduce our workload and benefit us a lot.
The log bridge used to get washed away during the monsoon. We had to reconstruct the bridge twice every year. Although we have the potential to grow vegetables, we could not focus on agriculture due to lack of a reliable bridge. We are happy as we can now focus on growing vegetables. We also do not have to worry about taking patients to the hospital.
People have been growing vegetables, but without a bridge it has been difficult to market our produce. And it's worse during monsoon when the bridge gets washed away. We are now expecting to prioritize vegetable cultivation as we have a bridge.
Firstly, we have to think while felling trees as it is difficult to get wooden logs. Secondly, it is not just about 1 or 2 years. We have to keep reconstructing the bridge. It is difficult to get woods from the nearby area. Thirdly, we cannot get machines for transporting logs since the place is remote. The residents here have been facing a lot of challenges.
The bridge will benefit more than 60 households in the Chiwok as well as another village of a neighboring Chiwok. The Chiwok was connected with a farm road in 2018. Pachanga Dojin Wangdifoda, Sunampem for BBS News.
During the first day of the second round mass screening in Samdujongkar town yesterday, 5 individuals tested positive for COVID-19. Following this, the town is under a complete lockdown once again.
The positive cases are among the 778 samples collected from the Koh-town area. They were tested on the RT-PCR test. The results were out earlier this morning. Health officials traced more than 20 contacts of the positive cases so far. Meanwhile, screening is ongoing for other zones in the town. A 4-day mass testing was initiated yesterday to detect residual cases, if any, before lifting the lockdown restrictions completely. This is the second such screening after the town reported a positive case from the community earlier this month. The Samdujongkar town had not seen any case from the community from 7th May till yesterday, and accordingly the zoning system was introduced. For Gileongchu in Samdujongkar, Sonam Wongdi, BBS News.
The Thimphu District Court sentenced a man to 5 years in prison earlier this month for fraudulent cheque writing. According to the judgment, the man had signed and issued a cheque for 4.3 million yutum to a relative in 2019, although he had insufficient balance in his account. He had been notified 3 times by the relevant bank that the cheque was invalid. The man had borrowed over 3.6 million from the relative and owed back 4.6 million yutum, including interest. He appealed to the High Court last week. With increasing population and just 2 health assistants, providing timely health services has become difficult at the Nobding Primary Healthcare Centre in Danchugyok of Wangdifodrang. There is a need to upgrade the health facility. At the recent Zongkok Tsogdu, the Gyeok administration proposed for a 10-bedded hospital, which would also qualify the facility to get a medical doctor.
The Danchu Mangmi said Nobding is an accident-prone area as it is located along the East-West National Highway. Today, the victims of road accidents are either taken to the district hospital in Wangdipoda or Usaka Hospital in Phopchika. Besides, the residents face referral problems, especially during delivery cases. Nobding is about 40 kilometers away from the district hospital.
Many vehicle accidents happen between Pelela and Kelaka, and due to the lack of required equipment in the current primary healthcare center, we see people succumbing to injuries.
He said there is no need to incur a huge cost. All it requires are some health equipment, an ambulance, and additional health workers.
The current primary health center at Nobni has enough space and infrastructure. We even have a huge structure which can be turned into a medical store for the eastern districts if need be.
If the COVID-19 pandemic does not hamper the plans, the district health sector will allocate a budget to upgrade the health facility in the next fiscal year.
As requested, we are planning to upgrade the healthcare center and provide additional manpower. Since Nobni is an accident-prone area, we have plans to establish a trauma center too.
The Dzongkhag Tsogdu will also submit the recommendation to upgrade the healthcare center to the parliament. For Changadoji in Wandepoda, Pimasaldan Singh, BBS News.
In the past, only high school graduates with science background could pursue nursing diplomas in the country. This has now changed. The cabinet recently decided to make high school graduates with arts and commerce backgrounds also eligible to apply for the 3-year diploma in nursing. This new regulation will be implemented from the current academic session.
With the new eligibility criteria, to qualify, students now need to have minimum marks of 40% in their respective subjects, including English. Prior to the change, only science students with a minimum of 40% marks were qualified. This decision was made by the cabinet in line with the increasing demand in and outside the country.
Criteria is only for admission yoga. So once they join the nursing institute Mula, then there is also, I think, they have the regular tests and screening things in place, screening procedures in place. And once they graduate from the institute, and again when they are getting employed, then also there is test conducted.
According to one of the private nursing institutes in the country, the subjects relevant to nursing taught in high schools are not vast and that the change will not make much of a difference. They said rather than just academics, being a good nurse also depends on having good skills and aptitude.
The academic qualification doesn't really measure a person to be a good nurse, because one needs to have a willingness, good willingness, and the passion for the profession you're going to take up.
Meanwhile, students are also thrilled with the news.
I personally feel that this is a great opportunity for those people who could not take up science course, and I hope that this new approach will help to open up a new career path for arts and commerce students, as they are both equally passionate and capable.
There are more than 1,000 nurses in the country as of now. Currently, the government recruits around 100 applicants with diploma nursing every year. Kyalzang Choden for BBS News.
The shortage of teachers in Ha has its local leaders concerned. And considering the extensive deliberation during the recent Dzongkhag Tsogdu, the issue is quite serious. According to them, the problem is common in most schools of the district.
Sertana Primary School in Kakiling-gyok is among some remote schools in the district with an encouraging enrollment. It has 29 students studying from classes pre-primary to 6. But catering to them is just one teacher. He takes the classes, manages the school, and oftentimes helps the cook in the mess.
At least 3 teachers are required. And these days, with the new normal curriculum introduced, technically sound teachers are also required. In total, I think the schools need 6 teachers to provide a quality education.
For the time being, without an alternative, the lone teacher sought his wife's help in taking classes. She is a class 12 graduate. Similarly, the school sweeper, a 10th grade pass-out, takes care of the lower classes.
Even if I understand the concept, it is difficult to explain it to the students. So I translate it into Dzongkha from English and sometimes even to Lhosamkha to ensure the students understand better. I'm passionate about teaching and also I don't want the children to miss the opportunity to learn even in absence of a professional teacher.
Currently, I look after classes PP and 1. I know I cannot teach like a professional teacher, but I try my best. Whenever I come across any doubt, I ask the lone teacher here. I get back to my regular work after lunch, since the classes are over for PP and 1.
At the recent Dzongkok Tsogdu, local leaders highlighted similar situations in other schools of the district.
In BBG Extended Classroom, there are classes from PP to 3 with about 30 students. The lone teacher there got transferred and there is no replacement yet. At the moment, 2 non-formal education instructors are managing the classes.
A teacher has to look after 7 different grades and also fulfill other responsibilities. I'm skeptical about the quality of education when such is the situation.
According to the Chief District Education Officer, Ha needs 40 teachers to resolve the shortage. And by July this year, half of the requirement will be met. Of them, 5 teachers will be deployed to the southern Gyoks of Ha. This is Namgyu Wangchuk for BBS News, Ha.
Farmers of Dewathang village in Sarpang are struggling to sell their chilies. They claim it to be because of the illegally imported chilies which have flooded the market and the need for strict monitoring by officials along the border gates. Import of chilies from India was banned around 5 years ago due to high pesticide content.
White Tara and Topgate farms are the only 2 private farms in Chusagang Gyok growing chilies on a large scale. They started out last year with the aim to address the chili shortage in the district. They grow chilies on around 30 acres of land each. However, after the harvest, marketing the chilies has become difficult. Farmers allege the reason to be because of the freely available chilies imported from India.
Anegi namse kangi tendi langachi. De imam chichuja de ngachi na gegamna ma chigale nandi thap an suti gade bedo ngachi mishivela illegal su gade bomda mishive ngachi begezin ngachi luanse mi duke khap nangkinale themi emadi lalen thapachin daga malethemi di lalen thapachin daga ani di ta misir di sugire kengola.
On the other hand, the Bafra office said the allegations made by the farmers are baseless and not true. He said, despite manpower shortage, the office has been carrying out strict monitoring. Recently, the office intercepted more than 300 kilograms of imported chilies belonging to one of the vendors in Gelefu. The offender was fined over 500,000 Newton.
분할의 파베 심나래데 이마수 올레마야 들어가지 기때 나는 배초비기 세세디 수베 문화 감지바 문화 감지기베 아니 베 공기만에 남지메 주기라 아니 베들로 같이 계신 게베 데다 보라베사 가라 빅베 따고디 아니 베타도 수도라.
On average, the 2 farms harvest around 3,000 kilograms of chilies in a week. They have been marketing it to Bumthang, Thimphu and Shimgang. For Karmaung in Sarbang, this is Pasang Doji for BBS News.
And now a recap of the headlines. According to a study, the country's forest absorbs 10 times more carbon dioxide than it's produced in a year. 5 individuals test positive for COVID-19 during the first day of second round mass screening in Samrujongko town. And local leaders in Ha worry over a shortage of teachers in the district. And this brings us to the end of the day's bulletin. Visit bbs.bt for details. Our stories are also available on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Thank you for watching.